but on legal stuff, I try to be clinical and call it as I see it.
Yeah.
So I think this judge should throw the case out.
Continuing our coverage of the disturbing arrest and indictment of former FBI Director James Comey, a prominent critic of Donald Trump, who for years has publicly and privately called for Comey's prosecution. I've mentioned in previous videos today that this indictment is so facially absurd that even staunch defenders of Trump in the conservative legal movement, including Andy McCarthy, who is Fox News' top legal analyst, is not only condemning this indictment, he is publicly saying on Fox News that the whole damn thing should be thrown out, should be tossed by the judge. That's how bad it is. But before we unpack all that, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bells before you go. All right, friends, we have several clips to play here. I want to start with two shorter ones that feature Andy McCarthy, as well as a longer one with MAGA Fox News host Maria Bartiromo.
Andy, your take.
I love Ted, but McCabe never said that Comey authorized it. What McCabe said was that McCabe authorized it. This is a leak to the Wall Street Journal. And then he told Comey about it later. The only way that you could convict Comey beyond a reasonable doubt is Comey would have to truly believe that he personally had authorized the leak. He would have to actually have authorized the leak, and then he would have had to know that he was lying when he denied it to the Senate. They're not even going to be able to prove that he authorized the leak because, by all accounts, he didn't. So I don't think this case even gets to trial.
Damn. Okay. And again, it gets worse. Not only does he think it won't get to trial, he doesn't think, quite frankly, it should on the merits. It should be tossed out. It should have never been brought in the first place. And again, this all concerns a leak that, Donald Trump believes that he has Comey dead to rights on, even though all the available evidence suggests otherwise. Here's one more clip from that exchange with Dana Perino on Dana Perino's show. I think this is America's Newsroom.
Well, look, James Comey, even before Donald Trump was elected, had a long string of highly political decisions that he had made in office. That's why my editorial page actually advocated that Donald Trump, as soon as he was inaugurated the first time, he fire him. Unfortunately, he didn't do that. And now we have everything that's come since. And while I think a lot of Americans would love to see some sort of accountability for James Comey for many, many reasons, for many sins, I'm not sure this particular charge is the way to go about it, in part because I'm not sure it's actually going to stick in the end, and that's going to leave a lot of disappointed people too. Andy can probably jump into the legality even more, but this is potentially a problematic prosecution.
I mean, McCarthy goes well beyond that, and he goes into more detail in this exchange with Maria Bartiromo, and it's about 5 minutes long. But given the importance of this particular prosecution, this is the most egregious weaponization of the Justice Department. And Trump has been weaponizing the Justice Department pretty steadily and aggressively over the past, 8 months? But this is probably the single greatest escalation here. So I want to hear what Andy McCarthy has to say because, again, McCarthy isn't a liberal. He isn't a progressive. He is a conservative legal analyst who is well-respected at Fox News and well-respected by even deranged MAGA podcasters like Megyn Kelly. Megyn Kelly's a big fan of Andy McCarthy, so his words carry weight among even MAGA Republicans. And you can hear, I should tell you, as this goes on, you will hear the palpable, tangible disappointment in Maria Bartiromo's voice. You'll see it on her face as Andy McCarthy gives her the bad news on the legal merits here.
Now is former federal prosecutor and Fox News contributor Andrew McCarthy. Andy, good to see you. Thank you so much for being here this morning.
Hi, Maria.
First, give us your reaction to the indictment.
Well, I don't think there's a case. The things that Kash Patel that you just played that he was talking about that you and I have spoken about for years, Maria, the Russiagate stuff, I'm as big a critic of that probably as there is. I wrote a book about it. I think it was a disgrace, and history will remember it that way. This indictment is not about that, and it seems to be premised on something that's not true, which is that McCabe said that Comey authorized him to leak to the Wall Street Journal. If you look closely at what McCabe said was that he directed a leak to the Wall Street Journal and told Comey about it after the fact. So it's true that Comey never authorized it in the sense of okaying it before it happened.
And that's at the heart of the matter, right? If one of your subordinates does something and then tells you about it after the fact, you have ex post facto knowledge of it, but by definition, you didn't authorize it because authorizing it would require prior knowledge and explicit permission. You would have to know about it in advance and say, hey, I'm telling you to do this. I give you permission to do this. If it is done without your permission and you're told after the fact, that's fundamentally different. And that goes to the heart of this. And by the way, just know how McCarthy's, you can see he's not happy about this. Like, he feels that he has to clear his throat, as I have to do now because I'm sick, but that he has to metaphorically clear his throat by saying, hey, listen, a lot of people in MAGA hate Comey over the Russiagate stuff. I've been as critical of Russiagate as anybody. It's a hoax. It's a hoax. I wrote a book about it, guys. I'm reminding you of my MAGA bona fides. All of that is to say, this ain't it. This was a huge mistake, as he goes into more detail.
So I don't see how they can make that case.
What about the leaking in general? I mean, what about leaking a story that they may have known was a lie to the media? Because if you're the director of the FBI, you need the evidence to say, yeah, I mean, you know, for years, congressmen and lawmakers were trying to understand, Devin Nunes, John Radcliffe, trying to understand what's the origins of this investigation. So what was the origins of Russia collusion with Trump? And so they never really had any evidence of it, but they leaked it to the press?
Yeah, but that's not what this case is about. I totally agree with you if you were talking about the information that was provided to the FISA court that claimed that Trump was in collusion with the Kremlin. But that's not what this case is about. What this case is about is Comey is accused of lying because what Ted Cruz said, and this, yeah, right, and what Cruz said, and I think this was just a garble on his part, was that Comey authorized McCabe to orchestrate the leak. And what the Inspector General found, and this isn't even just what the Inspector General found, this is McCabe's own version of events.
Right.
McCabe said that he directed the leak and he told Comey about it afterwards. Now, they have a dispute about what exactly McCabe told Comey afterwards and whether Comey was approving or disapproving of it. But the charge is that Comey authorized the leak, and he didn't authorize the leak.
So again, I love how Maria's like, well, she's grasping. She's like, well, I hear you. But what about this other stuff that has nothing to do with what the indictment's about? What about that? And you can see McCabe, it's like McCarthy here is trying to console somebody through a stage of grit. Like, I hear you. But that has nothing to do with this. You're talking about something totally different, not what's actually at play here. And it's just trying to help somebody through the 5 stages of grief to realize that this is a ridiculously meritless weaponization of the Justice Department. And yet, Bartiromo persists. Despite as her disappointment mounts, you're going to hear it and you'll see it, she persists.
I see. Well, the judge assigned to this case is a 2021 Biden appointee.
I see. What about the judge? The judge is a liberal, right?
Judge Michael Nachmanoff. What are your thoughts on that and what the grand jury will be looking at?
Well, I think it's a shame, and I should preface this, Maria, just so cards are on the table. I know Comey for 40 years. I like him. I was in the office with him. I've been a pretty severe critic of his throughout the Russiagate stuff, but on legal stuff, I try to be clinical and call it as I see it.
Yeah.
So I think this judge should throw the case out, but I'm afraid that...
Right there. McCarthy's saying this is so bad, the judge should toss the case. The judge should toss the case. That's how bad this is. But let's continue.
But on legal stuff, I try to be clinical and call it as I see it.
Yeah.
So I think this judge should throw the case out, but I'm afraid that he won't throw the case out because everyone will say he's a Biden judge and the fix is in. So it's probably... I mean, even though I wouldn't want to go through it myself, it's probably better if there's a trial and the jury acquits him. But this case should be thrown out.
I see, because of what McCabe said. What about the other?
I see. Just because okay, it's that bad. I mean, she's like stammering. She's so disappointed and frustrated. I see. It should be tossed out just because like there's like no real evidence to support it, and like all the evidence sits at the contrary. I see. So the judge should just toss it out. What about this other stuff?
What about the other charge of obstruction, Andy?
Yeah, the obstruction charge is based on the premise that Comey lied to the committee, and the lie to the committee is premised on count one, which is what we've been discussing. So I think if the perjury count goes, the obstruction count has to go as well.
I see. And in terms of any other potential criminality in this huge story of Russia collusion, how it
she's like, give me something. Give me something, damn it. Give me something. He's like, no, I'm afraid not. Not on the merits.
ripped the country apart. Is there any other criminality that you see, Andy?
Well, I think at this point, Maria, it'd be hard to indict a lot of this stuff because of the statute of limitations. You know, most of the things we've been talking about occurred in, 2016, 2017. They went after Comey on this because it's within the barely within the 5-year statute of limitations, which runs, I think, next Tuesday.
Right.
So it's going to be hard to reach back into the real problem here, which was the Russiagate stuff and the misrepresentations that were made to the FISA court in that connection. But that happened in 2016-17. It was thoroughly investigated by Durham. I know people are unhappy with what the bottom line of all that was, but it's very hard at this point to go back that far and have a case that's a live case.
And of course, that's something that Carter Page would like to see, since he was totally tangled up in that FISA abuse. Andy, great to get your take on this. Thanks so much.
you just hear the disappointment. Like, I see. What about I see? So, folks, listen. The fact of the matter is, even if this is absurd on the merits, and maybe there's a possibility he gets thrown out, as McCarthy says, this judge might feel compelled that for the sake of avoiding the appearance of impropriety, he actually makes a political decision, which is to allow this to go to trial, and just roll the dice that the jury will, rule in Comey's favor because of the merits, which itself is a political consideration, I'll point out. But that's how bad this case is on the merits. I mean, you hear it. McCarthy here is very sympathetic towards the MAGA movement in this respect, but he just believes that the merits are not there to bring this case. The thing is, even as long as the case is there, this is incredibly financially, personally, reputationally stressful for James Comey. It's bringing the full power of the federal government against James Comey. And so it's very little, it's cold comfort to say, well, sure, the federal government of the most powerful nation on earth is prosecuting you, but hey, the merits are on your side, so you'll be just fine. That's better than the alternative, which is that you are guilty in addition to the federal government prosecuting you. But it is incredibly stressful personally, financially, and everything else to be in this position in the first place. So the fact of the matter is that regardless of what happens at the hands of this Biden-appointed judge in the future, we are seeing a major escalation in the weaponization of the federal government because of Donald Trump. And it's so bad that even Fox News' top legal analyst is calling it out, despite his sympathies for Trump in this particular instance. So that's what we see. In the meantime, let me know what you think in the comments.